Welcome to the Service Drive Revolution podcast with your hosts, Chris, the Bulldog Collins, and Gary Daniel, the G-Man.
Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution, the big show where if you have a service drive, you have service advisors, techs, you write ROs, you have an effective labor rate, you have customers. This is a place for you.
That's right.
This is where you need to be. This is your community. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
much better than I was last week.
The topic today.
Ching. 5 things to create a menu. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 6 things because I added one. 6 things.
You can't do that.
I had to add one. 6 things to create a menu that will increase your effective labor rate. Guaranteed to increase your effective labor rate.
Menu.
Menu.
You know what the first one should be, even though this isn't it?
What's that?
Make a menu.
I got.
Do you know how many times
I got 7 then.
You know how many times I've gone into stores and the manager's like, I've been working on a menu for 6 months. I'm like, we're going to do it today.
Right. Give me a yellow pad.
I want to beat traffic. So by 3:00, we're going to have that dude done.
The funny one too is when you go in and say, hey, can I see your menu? And they give it to you and it's a book. Like it's like 100 pages. Like,
it's funny.
You need a Dewey Decimal System to find what you're going to sell in there.
That's hilarious. Okay. So what's the first one?
So number 1 is to have a clear idea of what you want to sell. So I think like when we go into stores and we're working with them, or even when somebody comes on with the coaching group, we start coaching them and trying to get them into a position where they can help their advisors to sell and present to their customers every time. They don't really have a clear idea of what it is that they want to sell. So they think they do, but they really don't. So you got to kind of collect it. Are you working with an outside vendor? Do you have in-house products? What does the manufacturer recommend? What would you like to supplement that with? You have to have those clear ideas. And then you need to also understand like what the recommendations are, what the time and mileage is for the, for those fluids, whatever the services that you want to sell. And, do you want to deviate from that? Would you like to offer your customers some supplemental? Like what is it that they're looking for?
Yeah, and the other thing is keep it simple. Walk before you run.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was the big general manager and I was trying to fix my. Why did I just?
You went all interwebs
why did
on
I
us.
slip into? You want to buy my pickup truck?
You're like, still, she's been talking to Canada so much, she's got a Canadian accent now.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was we had this F&I department, and the average was terrible. And so in our little 20 group, I think the average for all those people, and some of them weren't very good, was like $800 a car. We were like $250. And so then I bring in this big hot shot F&I director, and then it ends up that every F&I manager I had was selling their own thing with their own deal from another. And this F&I director, she said, we're going to sell 5 things and we're going to be really good at that. And so I think it's the same thing with menu.
Yeah.
Like get really good at selling alignments.
Mm-hmm.
And you can build on that.
Yep.
You can't expect advisors to sell 12 things when they can't sell one thing.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, yeah, pick 5. Geez, get them presenting those 5. But that book, that's where they run into trouble because I'm going to make a menu. And then they want to have everything in there, every possible variable, like everything. And down to the nickel, you got to play the law of averages and you got to make it simple because nobody's going to do the lookup. They're not going to do that. They don't want to. They don't want to do that in front of a customer. It's just not going to happen. So success is attracted to clarity, right?
Exactly. That's good. By the way, this is the Cowboys' year. They're going to win it all.
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
You did.
They got the experience. They got.
Is it funny that I said that?
They got the Dak. You know what I think. They got the Dak Prescott. They got the Zeke. I think it was funny though that we interviewed that girl.
So I interviewed this girl, and she just moved here to Los Angeles from Dallas. And so I was asking her about her family, and I said, "Oh, is your family, are they Cowboys fans, or is your dad a Cowboy fan or something?" And she's like, "We all are. I'm a Cowboy fan, and I'm like, "Oh." And then I thought, okay, here we go. I love this. And I go, "So what's the name of your quarterback there for the Cowboys?" And she goes, well, she did this thing. Well, Zeke. And I go, "No, Zeke's your running back."
That's a name.
I said, "You could have said Romo."
He's on the roster.
It's pretty funny. I said, "So you think the uniforms are cute?"
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, and then they're loyalists, like in that state, boy. They're Cowboy fans.
The Cowboy religion.
They
America's team.
Yeah, boy. They live, they eat, breathe in that. Who's that guy they picked up from the draft that we were talking about earlier? He had a weird name too. I can't remember his name.
The Cowboys?
Yeah. Shoot. Anyways, I'll think about it while we're talking. But it was just funny because they got Zeke, Dak, and then they got this other guy. I'm like, were they just picking guys with weird names now?
Dex or something.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, so let's number 2. So number 2 is you need to know the true cost of all the parts involved.
Oh yeah, so that's a funny one. So what most guys do is they're like, they have this perception of, everywhere around town they're selling brake fluid for $69.95. So I want to be at $69.95. Meanwhile, your parts manager's charging $50 for the parts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Actually, I don't know. Like most of the time when we go in and do a menu, they're losing money on something.
Oh yeah, almost everything typically, but yeah, it's at least something.
Yeah. And also maybe take your parts manager to lunch.
Yeah, so I would start if there's no relationship.
Tell
there,
him or her how handsome they are.
I would start bridging a relationship.
Janet, you sure are handsome. You're the handsomest parts manager I've ever seen.
So here's what I know about parts managers, because I was one. Worked in a parts department for a long time.
Nothing weird about that.
And
funny, your office was like a cave.
It was a cave.
Even you had a big window, and it still felt like a cave.
So as a parts manager, you're trained to think inside the box. Like inventory is a mathematical formula, and there is no gray area. But when you're selling and you're working in the service drive and you're dealing with customers, it's gray, it's fuzzy. And so while you might have, if you're going to do, let's just say you're going to do a coolant service on a car, right? And then some cars take a gallon and some cars take a gallon and a half or 2. You got a big truck that's going to take more. Like the parts manager wants to charge, a nickel for every single thing that goes on that ticket because that's how we're trained. But as a service manager, if you're building a menu, you're going to have to play the law of averages because otherwise you can't have 20 different coolant changes that they got to sell. So
okay, so let's this is a fun conversation.
Okay.
So 2 questions.
Yes.
Question number 1 is you're sitting next to Bryan Adams on an airplane. Question number 2 is you're sitting next to a parts manager at a factory meeting. Okay?
Okay.
What do you say to Bryan Adams? To break the ice and be friends.
I'd say, hey, I'm a huge fan and I listened to your record.
So you just put yourself in the fan zone.
Yeah.
You're a groupie at that point.
I became a groupie.
So I sat next to Bryan Adams and I said, Rick Rubin or Mutt Lange, who's the greatest producer of all time? And then he talked for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because Mutt Lange did all his records.
Okay.
And so for anybody who doesn't know, Mutt Lange and Rick Rubin are kind of the biggest selling producers. So Mutt Lange did Bryan Adams stuff, but he also did AC/DC Back in Black, his ex-wife Shania Twain, Def Leppard. List goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rick Rubin, that list is too long. But actually, I think Mutt Lange has maybe sold more records, but Rick's had more hit records. Okay, sitting next to a parts manager at a factory meeting in Miami.
Okay.
You walk down like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a parts manager. Now what do you say?
How big's your inventory?
That's good. What else could you say?
What else would I ask him? I would ask him about his manufacturer, and then I'd probably ask him about accessories and,
no phase in, phase out,
how they deal with obsolescence and special
I knew
order.
Is gonna come.
What's the special order process?
Let me tell you what I say. How do you track lost sales?
Oh, yeah.
That conversation never goes the right way.
That should have been my first one.
What's a lost sale?
Yeah. So I had that meeting with my guys because I didn't know anything about parts, and I went to a class and they taught this thing on lost sales. And I thought the guy's viewpoint on it was genius, which is basically everything's a lost sale. Don't second guess it. Just lost sale it.
Why not?
Because your parts guys will try to second guess it, and you're talking about thousands and tens of thousands of parts a month. You can't possibly line item every one of those, so you just got to drop them all. And so when I started in there, we were lost selling like a dozen parts a month, and we needed to lost sale like 30,000. So I had a meeting with my guys, and I asked them to define the lost sales, and everyone was different. And so I said, okay, guys, here's our definition from now on. Every part we don't sell is a lost sale. They're like, what if it's a 73 2002? I'm like, nope, lost sale it.
They could have reversed engineered the saying lost sales. It's funny how such a simple thing can be made into such a complicated thing. Well, no, it's not a lost sale if you actually eventually sell it. I love that one.
Yep.
Like, well, if I ordered it and I eventually sold it.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
And then like, well, I don't want to lost sale it too much. Well,
count it.
too many in stock. So we did the math, the formula on how parts departments source inventory, how the DMS does it. And so when you actually understand the math that it goes through, you realize that you could lost sale the part quite a bit before it would actually bring it into stock, without there being a real demand, which is always the concern.
But don't you control that anyways?
Not necessarily. I mean, I didn't want to. I had a.
You don't control your phase in, phase out?
Not bit by bit. If the system says bring it in, I bring it in. I don't question it.
But you control when the system triggers out.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's if you have
you control it.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you have it set up at 3 and 12 or something like that, you have to have 3 hits. You have to have 3 months of demand within 12 months in order for it to come in, which everybody thinks 3 means 3 demands. It's not 3 demands. It's 3 months of demand. So that's what gets everybody confused, and they're freaking out. If I lost sale it 3 times, then it'll be on the shelf. No, it doesn't work that way. It's fine. But if you lost sold it 3 months in a row, it should be on the shelf anyways, because we had 3 people ask for it. So, like, I don't care what it is, some widget, let's get it on the shelf. We just got on a parts tangent.
It's fun, though.
Service Drive Revolution.
Parts is fun.
So, anyways, to digress, I would say, get a relationship with your parts manager.
Take them to lunch.
Start to work this menu thing. You're going to sell more of whatever it is that you're selling for him, and so it'll benefit him in the long run. So get his mind wrapped around creating a very simple one sheet with everything you want to sell on it, which is what we're working towards.
What should the gross be on a fast moving maintenance fluid?
I think he could have a 40% gross margin on it, and as you start to play with the math on it, you could edge it up a little bit if it seems like there's room for it.
Yeah, you usually don't put that stuff on the matrix.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd run from 40 to 52% typically in margin on the.
But that's what we do see, right? Is that the parts manager put in a matrix, it hit all that stuff.
Yep.
And then they locked in the op code, so they said brake fluid's $99.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the matrix hits that brake fluid, and there's no ELR left.
Yeah, right. It sucks it all up, and so you're not aware of that.
You're just not looking. You got to look constantly.
Yeah. I guess one of those things should have been
parts managers are sneaky.
Price on logic, not emotion, but I didn't put that in there. That's number 7, apparently. 8. Now we're up to 8. All right, moving on to number 3. So you got to have accurate labor times when you go to build your menu. And the reason I say that is because the reason I say accurate labor times is because we see a lot of menus where guys are getting paid 2.5 hours to do an alignment that takes them 20 minutes. And we're trying to establish a cost that's competitive in the marketplace. And what ends up happening is they're losing money on every single one that they do because they're just paying too much in terms of labor time. So
or better, yeah,
you got to think it through.
The mock BG or Wins or JB guy, right? Justice Brothers. That guy sets a time because he wants a text to like doing it.
Yep.
So he's like, oh yeah, that pays an hour.
Yeah.
No, it pays a half an hour. How'd you come up with an hour? So don't let the chemical guys set your times.
Yeah.
Like really, make make it a fair time and look it up. But most of the time, if the chemicals guys said it, it's 0.3, 0.4 too high.
Yeah. And the new machines are so fast now. Like the diff changes. God, I wish I had that when I was a tech. You just throw the straw in there and hit the thing and it goes to work. And like we had, diffs that you had to pull the case cover off to change the fluid on them. And it would take hours.
Yeah. So don't let the chemical guys set the times.
Yeah. So
they're going to tell you what the techs want.
Yeah. And in like I said before, those machines, like, if you don't have the top level machines, get with whatever chemical supplier you're using or go out and find one because they'll work a deal with you and bring in the coolest, newest machines. It'll be fast and guys will make a lot of money on them. So we always have three things in mind when we're deciding what to sell. And to go kind of back to number one, but it has to be a high value to the client. It has to be highly profitable for the store, and it's got to be, a good thing for the techs to do. So all those three things. Yeah.
The three things. Man, bro, you're listomatic today.
I'm list heavy. But if you hit those three, then everybody's happy. Everybody's happy.
Top 5 rules for dating for your daughter. Number 1. Go ahead.
Number 1 is make smart choices.
Number 2.
Number 2 is to have every decision be yours and not something that somebody's influencing you to do. So
that's good.
If you decide you want to do something,
Father of the Year,
you're choosing to do that, go, and you're happy doing that. That's fine. Have fun. 3 is, I don't know what 3 is. Once you get past 2, they're pretty good.
You need to make a list today.
No, I trust. 3 is trust.
What number are we on?
We are on, so we did accurate labor time. So I'm going to start. So 1, we did 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is have a clear idea what you want to sell and get that right. And then get the true cost of whatever parts are involved. So you have that to establish a baseline. And then you need to have accurate labor times. So again, we're still talking about like we're building cost as we go forward. And then number 4 is what I would do is I would go and get some market data. So we always do a market survey whenever we're in the neighborhood and try to determine what the market is selling, whatever it is that we want to sell for. Now, that being said, you're not trying to compete with a guy that's got a shack and 3 lawn chairs and smells like tires and grease and you can't even use the restroom there. That's not the place you're competing with. That's got the $29.95 coolant flush. But you need to also understand what's out there. What is there. I would position myself at the high end of whatever the market range is, but I'd want to know what the market range is because I wouldn't want to get surprised. Also, I'm going to be talking to my advisors or whomever's selling my items and kind of frame them and let them know that this is what the market data shows, and then this is where we're going to position ourselves, and this is why. This is why we're going to do it. So I would do a little bit of a market survey. And it's really easy to get somebody, a receptionist, a cashier, somebody get on the phone and just start calling around. Give them a car. I got a Toyota Tercel, and do they still make those? I got a Toyota Tercel.
Do they?
I don't think so. Tercel, no more Tercel. I got the.
What was it replaced
from
by?
Mario? Corolla, Corona, Prius,
Corolla?
Maybe Prius. I don't know.
I
got a 1978 Toyota Tercel. I need to get brake flush.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If some guy in the market's like really, really low, call him.
Yeah. You've always said that. I haven't tried that yet, but you've always said that, yeah. And push it forward, right?
It always works.
Typically, people catch
Sooner or
wind.
later, it might take time, but it works.
Yeah.
Now, it's price fixing if you called everybody.
Right.
But if there's one guy that's like your competition and he's, out of his mind and not paying attention, and maybe he's got like 30 years working against him, and he's like, I can't charge $50 for that.
Yeah, right.
Just go, hey, you know what? We're charging $250 for that. You could come to $199.
Yeah.
Go Cowboys.
Come this way.
Go Cowboys.
We had a guy around the corner from us that was doing $39.95 alignments. And this is in the San Francisco Bay Area. Like, I don't know how he was doing that. And so, and
he owned the shop and ran the shop probably.
Yeah, literally like around the corner from us. And so we, when we raised our alignment price, he eventually caught on and raised his price. And I just got the feeling that he's sitting in his office going, thank God. Like, thank God somebody raised their price.
Yeah.
I can make $1 now.
What's that Lee Iacocca saying? Like if you're always trying to be the lowest price, it's like a dive to the bottom, or it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, you're not going to make
You're
it.
going to make it up in value.
Yeah. You're not going to make it.
So that was number 4.
So that is number 4 is have market data.
Drum roll. Brrr, number
Okay,
5.
so number 5
Number 5
is have a target ELR. So effective
Oh,
labor
what?
rate. You need a
Don't
target.
just wing it.
Don't just wing it.
Why not?
What do you need? Because we price everything based on emotion in this business. We feel that it's going to be this much, and that's what we do. But the truth is you have to understand what ELR you need to create profit, and a lot of it, because you're going to eat it on the oil change, the brakes, maybe even the tires and batteries that you're giving up. You need to make it up on some of this stuff. These candy bars are at the checkout register. So you need to have a high target ELR, so you have to understand how to balance your profitability.
I like it. That's
So-
good. That's a good list.
So so having a target ELR, and then my last and final one, and probably is just actually part of target ELR, is work backwards from the sale amount. And I'll say that again.
Or
So
you could say start with the end in mind.
start with the end in mind. So you got to work backwards from the sale amount. You do that because your first thing is, what do I believe I can sell this for? So you have your market data. You know what the market's going to bear. So you start. So in this tool that we have, you plug in the sale amount. It subtracts the parts plus the parts bump, right? The pack that you're going to put the profit margin, because the parts got to make a profit margin. So you get the parts cost plus the bump. It's going to subtract that off of the sale amount, and then it's going to take whatever's left and divide it by the labor hours, and it's going to spit out what your effective labor rate is. So you're going to put in a sale amount first. What do I think I can sell this for? So let's just say, for example, you're going to sell an alignment for $99, and you're going to pay them 2 hours to do it. So your effective labor rate roughly is $49.
We have a spreadsheet that'll do that for everybody. You want
Yeah.
to give them the spreadsheet?
Yeah, we can give them the spreadsheet. Yeah,
How do they
I
get
got
it?
no problem doing that. You can go to, let's see, where would I put it? You can go to ondemand.chriscollinsinc.com.
And then what?
ondemand.chriscollinsinc.com.
Then buy our online training is what you do there.
And then you go inside, and then it'll be there.
Pay.
It's for free once you buy the training. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
No, I will. I'll build a cell. I'll build a cell.
We'll put it in the notes.
So it's in there. So you'll see it. It'll say resource and then free. Just click on it and you go inside and it'll be in there. You can download it from
We'll
there.
put a link in the notes.
That's the best. Yeah, and I'll put a link in the show notes, and we'll scatter it around. And I'll put a link on the homepage too, chriscollinsinc.com. So, but yeah, if you're listening and you want this resource, we'll put it up for you. But just consider what I was saying. Like,
It's a good list.
if you're not going to go,
It's really as simple as that, really.
yeah, if you're not going to get, we have this sheet too that's got, it's got the time and mileage. It breaks it down for the tech, and it spits out a sheet that gives you the sale amounts for the advisor that you can just hand to them. So you have this kind of one sheet.
You know what
just go
I'm
and hand it
excited
to 'em.
about?
So it's pretty cool. What's that?
Washington, D.C. We got a coaching meeting coming
know.
up in Washington, D.C.
I feel like we were just there like yesterday.
I know. I like D.C.
Yeah, it's fun.
Last time we were there, we saw Trump. He drove by.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt we'll see him this time.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not even there.
It'd be a fun trip though. I like going there.
There's good cigar bars there.
Yeah.
But, the team or clients that we're going to meet there are a pretty fun group.
Mm-hmm.
We got some great stuff too, leadership stuff I've been working on all day. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. It's going to be a big meeting too. There's going to be a lot of guys there.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I might have to
Break it up.
have a feeling we might have to get a bigger room.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. I got to check with Jackie and see, but I think we might have undershot the room size. So
Yeah.
I have to get us a
I
bigger
can't-
space.
Yeah,
We don't want to be cramped.
I don't want to be hot.
That's it.
There's nothing worse than running a meeting and it being like 90 degrees in there because
Oh man.
nobody breathe.
Yeah. I was like that room in Boston. Like it was just so cramped in there.
The worst one was in Miami when the AC broke. That was the worst. It was just dripping sweat. Guys were falling asleep.
Man.
There's nothing you could do. It was like torture.
That heat, that's a killer, man. That's a killer. Especially when you're given information like that, because you're used to go all day.
Brain food, too. Yeah.
It just puts you to sleep.
It's going to be fun, though.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool. So let's recap. What are the 5 again?
Okay, so top 5 or top 6 actually. It's have a clear idea of what you want to sell. Make sure you get your time and mileage, get it all right, get it down. And you got to know the true cost of all the parts involved. So get with your parts manager, develop a relationship, figure out what those costs are. You need to have accurate labor times. So again, if you're paying too much for something, like sit down, talk with your foreman, talk with one of your lead techs, establish some really, really clear labor times. Maybe come down a little bit on some, come up on some other, but establish clear labor times. Market data, make a few phone calls just in your neighborhood, figure out what people are charging for stuff. And then get yourself a target ELR. What ELR do you need to create profit? Sell everything at a margin that's high that you're going to generate net profit off of. And then work backwards from the sale amount. So that's the big one.
Yeah.
That people don't think
about.
Even
a bigger conversation is you need to know what your break-even point is.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really know how to set your ELR until you know what your break-even point is.
Yeah. If anybody wants to know that, call us. 1-800-230-5165. We'll help you figure out what your break-even point is. I'll do a free strategy session and help you establish a break-even point.
Do the math.
Yeah. But that's critical. I mean, I'm telling you, figure that out and run this, you'll be in profit land fast. Oh, fast.
It's easy.
Works really good. And your customers love it. They want it. Trust me.
Preventative maintenance.
Yeah. I just got my clock cleaned today.
How much did you spend on your car?
$2,300 on my car today.
Gosh.
Oh my God.
See, you guys listening don't understand how hard it is to be Gary and I. Because we can't say no when they offer.
She's like, you need this,
Did
this,
you get
this,
your
and this.
mud flaps flushed?
No.
You can't. You literally can't say no to anything.
I had an alignment 3 months ago.
You had your tire
3 months ago
replaced.
Well, I hit a pothole and
I was with you when you hit. You didn't hit a pothole. You hit the Grand Canyon.
Oh man,
I'm surprised that airbags didn't go off.
It knocked my fillings out. Like, it was so hard. So it bent a wheel.
Of course.
I'm
surprised the suspension isn't bent.
So I had to buy a wheel, and then I had. So
what do you call that thing at the top, like that ape?
Oh, the tower.
Yeah, the tower.
Shock tower. So I should look and see if those are bubbled. But so I had to buy a wheel. But I just bought it. I bought brand new tires and an alignment 3 months ago. So I had to buy another alignment because of course you hit a pothole.
And it's active steering.
And then they want to do a full balance. And then I had to get a fuel service. And then my AC was a little funky, so they did some cleaning on my evaporator. So I'll get it back. It'll be really nice, and everything will be done. But she cleaned me out.
Are you sure that isn't because you're smoking too many cigars in your car? That's funny.
What is that smell in there?
That list was good. That was good. So we hope you guys all have a great week. Yep. That's some great information for you. Some stuff to live by. You might want to listen to this podcast twice.
Yeah.
So you pick it all up. And we will see you on the next one.
Yep. See you.